Pro Tour Championship, which was a bunch of controversy surrounding that. And then we also have the Team Championship. So without further ado, I mean, this show is jam-packed. Let's get into it. Kyle, tell us, who won the Pro Tour Championship 2018?
Well, first of all, it's called Worlds.
Worlds, sure.
All right.
We got a Pro Tour champion.
So the winner of Worlds was the runner-up from last year that lost to William Huey Jensen, and that was Javier Dominguez.
Yes.
And he won. Yeah, oh my gosh! If any of you guys watched it, he was so emotional when he won. He jumped out of his chair and did the double fist pump. He ran around. Dang, this guy is pretty excited. And you could see his opponent kept a 3-lander with a ton of 4-drops in his hand. So at one point his hand was Karn, Chandra, Phoenix, and Javier saw him miss his 3rd land drop, and then when he doomfalled him, he saw 4-drop, and at the next turn when Gregor Kowalski did not play a land, you could see him do the thing where when you know you're gonna win, you start straightening it up in your chair, and you're just
play a little bit quicker,
and he was play Chandra, play Doomfall, play Pia and Nalar, and he was like, all right, I need to finish this.
Yes,
and
he was playing with urgency. Yeah.
Yeah, he saw the finish line, and he was like, there are more ways where I can lose the game.
Yeah.
And there's so many routes to victory. What do I do that makes me lose? So you have to minimize that number of possibilities.
Yeah.
He ran him over in the 3rd game.
I mean, he's been on a tear too.
It was the 5th game. It was best of 5, so it was the 5th game.
So after he got 2nd last year at the World Championship, he then top-8'd 3 GPs and then top-8'd Pro Tour Rivals of Ixalan. And he was the Pro Tour point leader with 65 this year. So, I mean, he
was determined.
Yeah, he was definitely determined. 2 of his GP top 8s were recently. He top 8'd actually 2 back-to-back even with Jeskai Control in Modern, which, as you all know, I'm a huge fan of. But
I mean, just big kudos to him. He's clearly put in the effort to get back to where he wanted to be, and good to see someone not shy away after taking a hard loss.
Yeah,
I think it was pretty cool. The whole top 4, every single different one was a different story. So you had Javier Dominguez coming back for that redemption. You had Ben Stark, Hall of Famer, just one of the best players out there.
Yeah,
coming in there with his own brew of mono red, which was fantastic. He read the room.
Yeah.
You had Shahar Shinhar. He's got to get that 3rd. You gotta get the ring for each finger, man.
Right.
He needed the 3rd. He needed the 3rd victory at Worlds. And then you had Gregor Kowalski, just one of the best up and coming Pro Tour players. The guy just looks like he's never breaking a sweat. There was a quote in one of the interviews where he's like, "Yeah, I tested 20 leagues, which is 100 games, 100 matches," and he's like, "That's nowhere near the sample size I need." And Paul Chian was like, "What are you talking about? That is so much magic." He's just like, "No, I'm used to doing 50, 60 leagues," and it's like, what?
Yeah, and
it's funny. I don't know if you guys ever have watched Kai Buddha when he plays a lot, but they remind me very similar the way each other plays.
Really?
Just the absolute stone-faced composure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Just soul reading every opponent.
Yeah.
One thing too that's really cool here that I'm reading is you can always kind of feel like you're not as good as maybe you potentially are. And he states here in his top 8 profile info that he isn't as gifted as the rest of the people in the room. So to your point, Kyle, he has to just practice and practice and practice a bunch. And, I mean, it definitely paid off for him.
Top 2, I mean, he came in 2nd. He's walking away with $50,000 for playing a game.
It's
I mean, it's a pretty good weekend.
Oh, yeah. And of course, Dominguez taking home a cool $100,000. It's insane. It's funny. I saw a picture on Twitter of what would you do after you win $100,000 playing Magic? And he literally just sat down and de-sideboarded. He sat down. The image is great. If you're on Twitter, go check out Riley Knight. The trophy's sitting there right across from him, and he's literally just de-sideboarding. It's a great image. Dedication. If you ain't first, you're last. I'm sure that's the mentality you had coming into this tournament too. So,
it almost has to be.
And then, of course, like you said, Shahar Shinhar just getting back to another top 4.
Yeah.
and I thought it was pretty funny.
Dude's a beast, man.
I thought it was pretty funny. When they did the top 4 announcement, everyone walked out, and it was Team T-shirt Haruya, Team T-shirt Haruya, and then like Sharing a Fireball for Ben Stark, and then Shanhar was the last one. He was like in a 3-piece suit with like
he's
fresh shoes.
Sharp, man. I'm sitting here looking at his picture. He's looking sharp. Yeah,
he's just like 3-piece suit, looking sharp.
One thing also about Shahar, he started this freaking tournament draft day 1 0-3. And he did
terrible.
He came back to top 4.
Dude's pretty good.
Dude's like legit a prodigy because he top 8 his first GP at the age of 18. Like,
so while talking about Shahar there, the way he did get in the top 8 was that disqualification.
Yeah, so Ken Yukihiro was disqualified for having a sideboard card in his opening hand. What happened was he ended up not saying anything for an entire turn cycle. So he saw it, pass turn, pass back, judge.
And the card was Diamond Mare.
Yeah, Diamond Mare, which pretty strong.
And he was playing mono blue. My issue with this is if you don't know what your opponent's on and they don't know what you're playing, they might not know your exact 75.
Yeah.
So if your opponent, 84% of the room or something like that was red black, so Diamond Mare.
What a great format.
The Diamond Mare would be so good if they were playing a red deck. So maybe Ken, I'm not saying he did, but like this is the argument.
Yeah.
Is you keep it in your opening hand, you see what your opponent's playing. If they're not playing red-black, call a judge and see if you get the card taken out. Yeah. But if they are playing red-black and you try to play it, like that is intentionally cheating. Yeah. So that's like the angle that I could see is like if the person was playing red-black and his opponent was playing blue-white, so the card wasn't good.
Yeah, that's
the argument for that's the argument for disqualification in my eyes. Is like he didn't call it immediately because he didn't know what his opponent was on. I mean, he might have known what Shanhar was on, but who knows? So the head judge did the little quick interview and said that he saw the card in his hand.
Yeah, so that's the thing too, is that the judge was standing right there the whole time. Mm-hmm. And he didn't say anything at first because he wanted to see how he handled the situation. So go on, I just wanted to point that out.
Yeah, so the judge said he watched him, saw the artifact, looked at the deck list, and there was no artifacts in the main board.
Yeah.
And then he let it go a full turn cycle. Yep. And whenever it went around, Ken called judge, and then he said there was an investigation. I don't know what that means. Like, I understand what it means, but like I don't know how they did it.
I just imagine it's judges dressing up like Sherlock Holmes and find sleuthing around the space.
Yeah, so I'm not sure what exactly Ken was disqualified, and it led to Shahar being in the top 8.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. Let's get to the other tournament, the less prestigious but still pretty important. It's Legacy. Star City Games Baltimore was Legacy. And before we move on, again, congratulations, Javier Dominguez. Huge ups. I mean,
real quick, Donovan said the tweet translates to "My heart was weak. It turned to DQ."
Ken's tweet, yeah.
So let's spend a little minute talking about this because
sure,
that's like the human element, right? Is like we've all had that moment where that sinking feeling. You're like, oh my god, and you just kind of like, you know, you're like disheartened and you kind of feel your heart sink, and it's just like, oh my god, this card is in my sideboard. I forgot to desideboard. But like the difference between a stand-up like polished player, like you call a judge. I that happened to me at actually Evan, it was a SCG you and I went to, where I was playing Blue-White Delver in Standard, and I drew a sideboard card and I was like, and I did it, but you can't let that go on. You can't.
Yeah.
So
because you know the difference between right and wrong. Like
how different is this from like say a Bert?
All right, I think we might be losing Evan a little bit, kind of tatering
out.
I think what he's getting at is like Bertoncini level cheating, which I don't think this is at all on the level, but at the end of the day, cheating's cheating.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, I mean, he got disqualified. I don't know if it was 100% worth. It's kind of in the gray area where it could have been deserved, it could have not. It's all intent, you know. It's all like.
Right.
What was the player's intent?
Well, yeah,
that's hard to determine, and you know that's why rules are rules, because you can't go from case to case saying intent. So,
well, I mean, the judges by DQing him determined that the intent was to gain an advantage, like 100%. Yeah. They will not disqualify you if they don't think that your intent was to gain an advantage. SCG Baltimore, which was won by
Matthew Vuk.
Yes.
Yeah, Matthew Vuk was playing 4-color loam, and oh my gosh, he played like the ropes. He outplayed Jonathan Rossum so hard. He has Jonathan Rossum playing against 4-color loam, and the 4-color loam player has a single forest out, and that's it. And Rossum has Jace, the Mind Sculptor, Liliana the Last Hope, 2 Blood Moons. Vuk kind of looked like he was like dead in the water. He found Mox Diamond, then that led to him playing an Abrupt Decay on the first Blood Moon, and then found Golgari Charm for the second Blood Moon, and then got to stabilize and wastelanded all of the red sources from Jonathan, and then was able to put a chalice on 1, and then he could play his Punishing Fires because Jonathan could no longer surgical them and could no longer play K Command to destroy the chalice. So it was like a masterclass by Matthew Vuk. Like, it was crazy.
So I'm gonna put the deck list up. You can.
I'm just gonna say Jeff Scorched Earth is not the best card in Legacy.
All right, so this list looks so good.
One thing I'm noticing is the one of a Johnny Vengeant.
Yeah.
I guess it just say Armageddon your opponent. Good game.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes that just you luck into it.
Yeah, and I saw it got milled over game 2 against Jeskai, and I guess he wants it against Jeskai, like tap down your lands, I guess. In his profile, he said Dark Confidant is sweet. Like, Dark Confidant is one of his favorite cards. Knight of the Royal Quarry, awesome card.
Yeah, that
Skew's great.
That's
T, great.
Knight of the Royal Quarry is like literally my favorite green card ever.
It's really, really good. And you saw Jonathan put a high premium on he both countered it with a Force of Will, pitching a Jace the Mind Sculptor. So, like, that's putting a high premium on that card. Garruk just creates infinite 2/2s and just, like, takes over the game. He just played around Jonathan so well.
Jonathan, of course, played Grixis Control. I'm going to bring that deck up.
This has really taken the spotlight of Grixis Delver, or what used to be the 4-color, the check pile decks.
Yeah.
It plays Snapcaster, Gurmag Angler, Baleful Strix as the creatures in it. It's really, really good. It's close to the deck that Reed Duke played when he played the Reed Duke Experience.
Oh, yeah, the GP Reed Duke. Yeah, I remember
GP Reed Duke. So 3 Jace, 1 Lily Last Hope, K Command, Bolt, Hymn to Turok, a whole bunch of just really good, efficient spells.
This deck looks sweet.
It's like the control deck you want to play if you don't want to play Miracles.
I could see that. It looks like a pretty sweet control deck. Yeah, Mono Blue Painter. That's
Mono Blue Painter, yeah.
I love seeing that deck up there. That is so much fun.
Brian Durkin on Mono Blue Painter. Evan, you want to kind of explain what this deck does?
Yeah, so
and it's got Psy
this
in
is
it. Oh, that's sick, dude.
Yeah. So this is a combo deck that focuses around 2 cards. Painter's Servant, 2 mana, 1/3 Scarecrow. Choose a color, and all cards that aren't in play, spells, and permanents are the chosen color.
Yep.
So it comes in, you name a color, and then it combos with a card called Grindstone. So 1 mana artifact that says tap 3, put the top 2 cards of target player's library into that player's graveyard. And if they share a color, you repeat the process. So with a Painter's Servant in play, you name blue, and every card in your deck is now blue, and you mill their entire deck.
That is a spicy... This is like a meme deck that is actually good.
There's a player in St. Louis named Daniel who just put this together. It's pretty sweet. He's playing 4 War of Invention, though. I think that's a really good addition to the deck. I don't think this deck was playing it, though.
Possible. That card is solid.
Yeah, and it just finds the piece you need.
Donovan Bean brings up a sweet point. Antiquities War. He's got 4 Antiquities War. Oh.
I mean, it's just
a backup win condition.
It's a backup win condition, and it's an Ancient Stirrings twice. So 4 mana, Ancient Stirrings, and then like what's that card that changes all your stuff? March to the Machines or something like that. Like makes all your things into creatures.
Yeah.
So, Mono Blue Painter, really sweet deck. Since the death of Deathrite, we've seen a lot of different decks come about. I think Legacy's in a really sweet place.
Oh, yeah, I agree. And seeing, like, standard cards that are, like, maybe playable in Standard in Legacy is always sweet to me. Mm-hmm. Like, Antiquities War kind of reminds me of Tezzeret.
Very much like Tezzeret. It's plus, and then the minus.
One thing that interests me about this is something that has been in a lot of Legacy attention lately is there's no Death Shadow in the top 8. To that effect, there's only 1 in the top 16. Oh, no, there's 3. I lied.
3, you liar.
Yeah.
You liar.
I mean,
boo this man.
That's not even that bad.
Lower
though.
on the list than we've seen.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So
Like,
very
not
sweet.
having any of the top 8 is surprising.
Yeah, very sweet stuff though. I mean, Four Color Loam, Antiquities War. That's what I'm calling this deck, is Mono Blue Antiquities War. Sorry.
Eldrazi. Apparently, there was a lot of Eldrazi decks there in Legacy this weekend.
I've seen them picking up team.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it doesn't surprise me. The format is slimmed down. Eldrazi seems like it would fit. Whoa, this one plays Formalith?
Oh, sure.
Yep.
This deck seems sweet.
It's kind of interesting too to see how, because remember whenever the banning happened, like Sneak and Show seemed to be the deck that everybody kind of migrated to, at least at first. And now I'm looking through this, and there was only one in the entire top 32. And
man, that might be a bad
20th.
choice for me then.
So
yeah.
Maybe I should play it next week.
So very interesting stuff from both the championship and the
SCG
Open.
Baltimore.
We also had the team championship right alongside the player championship. Kyle, who ended up taking that one down? Which team?
That was team, I believe it was Ultra Pro. Team with Reed Duke, Owen Turtenwald, and a whole bunch of other Huey, just a whole bunch of fantastic players. I mean, you really couldn't ask for a better team to win. Reed Duke's one of the most stand-up guys. Huey has been playing almost as long as I've been alive, like 20-something years.
Literally.
Literally. So, just some of the best guys to win this tournament. Yeah, and they did Guilds of Ravnica sealed, right?
Yeah.
Very, very odd.
Yeah, it was a strange tournament. It was Ultimate Guard. Team Ultimate Guard.
Yeah, Ultimate Guard.
Peach Garden Oath is a part of Ultimate Guard, but it was Team Ultimate Guard that ended up winning Team Championship. So congrats to the team Ultimate Guard and Peach Garden Oath and all those guys, of course.
All right.
To you.
Here's the rundown. It's Andrew Cuneo, Reed Duke, John Finkel, Huey, Paul Rietzel, and Owen. Just like the most stacked team you could ever think of.
All they're missing is Paulo, literally, and then that's like the best going right now, I think.
That's all I've got this week.
Yeah,
Evan?